there's a conspiracy here. This is like an identical crime. Who's like sabotaging the brains of older Asian men, telling them to go take guns and shooting up places? You know, that's my initial thought.
They're both Asian and they're both, you know, like retirement age. That's just like the weirdest thing, and all within like a week.
It's just such a weird coincidence that it's so identical and so close to each other in terms of timing. You know, it's just a few days.
Yeah, I don't really know. It is super weird. But obviously, you know, trying to push more, you know, gun bans and banning guns and things like that, more regulation, more gun control. It's the only thing I can think of. Like, I don't want to undermine any of the victims or anything like that, but it's just so weird that these two identical crimes happen so close together within a very
I guess we can't really call it identical. Like it's not like identical, but like there's a high amount of similarities between the two of them that just makes it feel really weird.
I don't know. I mean, coincidences do happen, but it's just very odd to me. And so now, like I think the some lawmaker in California, they're proposing, or was it Dianne Feinstein? I don't know who she is, but she's a very famous politician. But she's proposing a new bill to ban assault pistols, which to me is very funny. So I am like a 2A advocate. I do have some guns. I do believe that we should have the right to, you know, arm ourselves, protect ourselves. And they're trying to ban assault pistols, which makes no sense because a lot of people, it's like the same thing with the assault rifle. Assault rifle doesn't really mean anything, you know, because as far as guns are concerned, there's automatic guns or like automatic rifle and then semi-auto, you know, same thing with pistols. There is automatic pistols and there's semi-auto pistols. So automatic is when, I'm not like a gun expert. I do like them, but like I can't answer everything about it. You know, I like it on the surface level mainly, but you know, on an automatic weapon, if you were to pull the trigger and hold it down, it would keep firing until the magazine's out of ammo. With the semi-auto, you have to pull it each time to fire. And so automatic guns are already illegal and banned. Like you're not allowed to own one unless if it's like you have one that was built or manufactured before the ban happened. So like it's kind of grandfathered in. You can own that, but those are very expensive if you were to buy one of those. Like, I don't know how much, but you had to be very wealthy to afford one that was built or manufactured before the ban. And so automatic weapons are already illegal. Rifles, pistols, whatever, you name it. You can't have a new one like that. You can modify your gun to be automatic, but that if you get caught with that, it's illegal. You know, you're going to get a felony. You're going to do some time in prison, whatever. So don't do that. And so the fact that they're trying to ban assault pistols doesn't make any sense. You know, ultimately they're just trying to ban pistols. You can talk about like the size of a magazine, you know, like how many bullets a magazine can hold. And I think California is already very strict on that. And so it's just weird. You know, they're just making up these terms, trying to instill fear.
So basically, are you saying that they're going to try and make all guns illegal?
I mean, ultimately,
in California by way of all this?
Yeah, I don't. Dianne Feinstein, I don't know if she's a federal politician or a Californian. I don't know. I just saw the headline. I heard her name before though, but ultimately they are moving towards that. You know, in the grand scheme of things, they can't do it overnight. It's going to happen incident after incident. They're going to, you know, keep moving the goalposts towards banning everything completely. But yeah, so trying to ban assault pistols makes no sense because automatic pistols already illegal, and then all you have left is semi-auto. So assault pistol really just means pistols, I'm guessing. You know, like they just threw a word in front of a pistol. And so, to me, they're just moving towards banning all guns, and which, if you really want to break it down and really try to protect Asians, I know in this case, you know, it was an Asian on Asian thing, but if you really want to protect Asians and all people, you know, I think we should exercise our right to, you know, be law-abiding citizens in gun ownership. You know, I got into guns because of an older Asian guy. There is this there's this pho place that opened up around here, and the guy who opened it, he's from Houston. Him and his family, large family business, they own several restaurants in Houston, but they were trying to open one in Dallas, just trying to expand. They're no longer there. I hadn't really spoken to that guy in a while. Last time I saw him at the restaurant was the last time I saw him, but he was the one that actually got me into firearms. He was like a competition shooter. Like he would go to competitions and cool. Like he was really into guns. And he
I feel like people think, oh, you're into guns because you're advocating violence or whatever, right? Like I feel like that there's a assumption, right? That if you're into guns, you're advocating for violence, and I feel like that's a bit of a stretch, to say that. I feel like I'm not a gun owner myself. I'm not really into guns at all. I have no interest in buying a gun, but I could advocate for gun owners in a sense. I can understand why you could be interested in guns in a sense of like you're trying to develop a skill.
Yeah,
it's like if you took up archery, is there a difference between taking up archery and learning how to fire upon a target with the bow and arrow versus with a gun?
Yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you're trying to destroy whatever you're shooting at. So, but I don't look at it as like an assault weapon. For me, I think of it as a protection weapon, It's like I have guns because if there is an intruder in my house, I want to make sure that I have the option to protect myself. If someone broke into my house, I don't want to shoot anybody. God forbid, that's the worst situation, is to actually shoot somebody. But if it was between me or him, or, him and, my wife or family, I want to choose him,
Easy.
Yeah,
easy decision.
So anyways, going back to that Asian guy, the restaurant owner, he also owns, or him and his family, they also own a jewelry store in Houston, and they've been robbed before, and so having a gun at a business, it really protects you. It really thwarts the threat. Ultimately, nobody wants to shoot anybody. I bet it's a very traumatic experience.
Yeah, fuck that.
You got to deal with police reports. They're going to confiscate your gun. You're going to have to go through court. And it is terrible, and nobody wants to go through all that. But if it's a life or death situation, I prefer to choose life for myself that I'm protecting. I'm not trying to harm anybody because I want to harm them. And he told me about this story where he had his aunt was coming home from chemotherapy or something. They pulled up in the alleyway into their garage, and they had cameras all over their house. And when she got out, there was this black guy or whatever, and he just snuck around and just sucker punched her and robbed her at her own house. So there are real threats out there. And, with all the Asian hate and stuff that was happening, I mean, if you really wanted to minimize that situation, we need to, have the tools and resources to protect ourselves. Back when the Rodney King riots, there's the big meme of the rooftop Koreans. It's just silly to, and yeah, it would be great if we just lived in a society with no guns, but I mean, it's kind of too late. Pandora's box is open. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. We have more guns than people in the US, and that's the reality of it. Yeah. And that's not going to change. It sucks, but ultimately I find it hypocritical for politicians to try to ban guns, because guess who's protecting them? Armed security, so
with guns, you don't say.
Exactly. And so they're on this high horse where they're like, oh, well, I have my protection. I have my armed security around me. But you little normies, you little peasants down there, you guys can't have guns because you guys aren't responsible enough for them. So these politicians, they're just, I don't know. There's something
They're
else.
not speaking from a perspective that is relatable to us. They're speaking from their high horse perspective.
Yeah,
and they're like,
exactly.
As long as I'm good. As long as me and my family are safe, fuck the rest of y'all. I don't know.
Exactly. But
they put on that face. They put on the smiley face and go, we care about you. we need to get rid of all guns. It is a dangerous society.
And like, I mean, I guess
menacing.
in these cities where most of the Asian hate crimes are happening, unfortunately, they do have very strict gun laws. So the Asian people walking around, they are law-abiding citizens, so they're not going to be carrying a gun around them and getting in trouble. But these criminals, these laws don't stop criminals. Being a gun owner, it's legal to have a gun, but once you do shoot somebody, that becomes illegal. So it's just crazy to think that like a silly little law to ban a gun or whatever, carrying your gun, is going to stop a criminal from committing crimes. So these laws, what they're really doing is they're just harming law-abiding citizens that
I agree.
would carry a gun if they're allowed to protect themselves. But now you're making it illegal for them. They are going to listen and they're not going to carry them. But guess who won't listen? It's going to be the criminals, so
bad guys.
I mean, that's all I really have to say about that. But like as far as like, mass shootings and stuff, they're terrible. Like I don't want them to happen. And I think that's a different conversation to have,
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people that kind of lump that what you're saying about gun rights and then these mass shootings. I feel like they kind of lump it together into one big thing to solve. And I'm like, if you really break it down, it's like it's two separate.
And here's another thing. Like, when is the last? I never looked this up on the internet, but like, when's the last time you heard about a mass shooting happening at like, say, a gun show?
Yeah, like the place where you have the most guns doesn't really happen.
Yeah, they're going to choose places.
In fact,
mm-hmm.
a lot of guns actually, a lot of shootings. Well, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I'll be speaking out of my ass.
Yeah, but
I want to say most gun violence happens in
like gun-free zones,
bigger cities, and where they don't do guns. Yeah, whereas areas where they
or like schools,
guns
schools, they are a gun-free zone, so there are no guns there. But it's easy for the gunmen to just go in because they know.
Well, yeah, because it's a gun-free zone. Yeah,
they know.
I'm gonna pick the place where they can't defend themselves. Yeah, they're not gonna go to a gun expo.
Yeah.
And try to shoot up a gun expo because everyone else is there.
It's like you pointing a finger. You point one finger, you're gonna have multiple fingers pointing back at you. That's what it's gonna be like at a gun show. And like in the situation in Uvalde that happened last year, I think. Yeah, like I don't know what was up with the police, but they took like an hour to like stop this gunman, so it's like even then the police weren't very effective in that situation. And I don't have an answer for what would solve it all. And like, do I think teachers should be able to carry guns? I don't know, maybe not. I don't know, but I just think there just should be there should just be a different conversation around it aside from just like trying to ban all guns is all I'm saying. I think other like gun tubers might have better answers to answer these questions. I don't, but that's just what I think about it.
Yeah, I don't know about arming more people would be a solution either.
They have to be trained. So I will say, if you do decide to get a gun, you should know how to use it. You should be trained. You should understand the consequences of using that weapon or that tool. I'm not just advocating for anybody to get a gun. Like, if you get one, please learn as much as you can about it and get some training, know how to use it, know when to use it. Because in the situation, when your adrenaline's running, you're not going to think the same as when you're just calmly shooting at a target inside of a gun range. It's totally different.
Yeah.
And so, it's a very big gray area. And I just don't think it's not a black and white situation for sure.
Like, this is the part where I kind of lean more towards anti-gun. Mm-hmm. When I'm pissed mad, like when I'm just like, I'm fucking pissed, I'm seeing red, and I'm like, no one's gonna calm me down.
Yeah.
I've been in situations where like, you can't fucking calm me down right now. I will fucking break you, and I will or I will die trying, like there's like that blind rage moment.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
I can't even contain myself sometimes when I get into those moments and I don't even have a weapon, Mm-hmm. I'm armed with my fucking words and my words will cut, my words will do all the damage.
Absolutely.
And so to then say allow normal people to have guns who they're not insane, like they're mentally like okay in terms of like taking all the mental health checks or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But then you have the situations where you're just blind mad. You're just blind rage is taking over. And if you know how to use a gun or, like whatever, it's a hard debate. Yeah.
But
it's a hard debate. I'm like, I don't want to be around that person if they know how to use a gun and they're near their gun and they're fucking pissed, and I'm at the opposite end of their anger. Like they're directing their anger towards me. I'm like, well, peace out, man. I'll talk to you when you calm down.
Yeah. But I mean, you can use anything as a weapon, like I know in like London, they got like stabbings happening all the time, Oh
yeah. They rent a van. They just mow people over.
Exactly.
With the van.
So I mean,
I know.
Yeah. So it's human nature.
It's gray area.
Yeah. It's the evil part of human nature. I will say that like the biggest gun advocates, in the gun community, those are like the most calm people with guns. So it's like the people who like kind of have a gun but aren't really into it. Like I feel like it's those people that will typically
and they barely know how to use it. They've only gone to the shooting range like once or twice. Like I got it.
Yeah, I would say I feel like
I'll go play Call of Duty.
I feel like those are the people most likely to mishandle a gun. I'm not super huge in the gun community, but I've been to a few events, and I will say those people are like the calmest people. Very friendly, and I think they understand the consequences. If something were to happen. Tough topic.
It's a tough topic.
And it's probably never gonna have a good solution, I would say.
Yeah.
But as far as me and my house, I will do what I can to protect me and my family. That's all I will say.
Yeah. That's good. I like to hear that. I completely agree with you in terms of like needing to protect your family. Like I may not agree with you on everything about guns, but I'm right there with you in terms of protecting
I will say
the family.
The movie or the TV shows, I would say, that really made me think that way is watching The Purge. When I was watching The Purge, I'm like...
That makes you want to have all sorts of shit.
Like I want
steel-plated windows that like roll up, and like bolt down the door.
If I had all the money in the world, I would totally do that to my house. I'll have like an underground bunker, like just...
fireproof home. You can't set my house on fire.
Exactly.
You can't gas me out. You can't shoot down. You can't... you can't do nothing to me.
Yeah.
I get it. But yeah, I when you said like you're going to protect your family, like I can relate to that too. You can debate all sorts of different types of scenarios, and different scenarios will make me lean one way or another over the other, right? But when it comes down to the concept of protection and the concept of like, well, what am I really here doing? I want to make sure my family's okay. I agree with you.